You've counted calories, cut carbs, and followed every rule you could find, and the scale still laughs at you. You're wondering, will you ever lose the weight? You haven't failed. You've just been tracking the wrong number. I'm Dr. Yasmine Elamir, an endocrinologist and obesity medicine specialist who's lost 80 pounds herself, and I help people reverse insulin resistance and finally make weight loss easier and feel doable again. The number that tells me if fat loss is going to be easier for you the next week is called time in range, or TIR. It measures how many hours a day your blood sugar stays in a healthy zone, the zone where your metabolism actually works with you instead of against you. For people living with type 2 diabetes and insulin resistance, studies show that staying between 70 and 180 for about 70% of the day, or roughly 17 hours, is linked to better control and fewer complications. For people with insulin resistance or prediabetes, I use a training window of about 70 to 140. It's not a medical order. It's learning a range that helps you see which foods and habits push your blood sugar too high. See, calories still matter. Physics never stopped, but biology decides how hard that math feels. Let me explain. When insulin resistance is high, your cells stop hearing insulin signal, so the sugar stays in your blood instead of moving into your muscles, and then you feel tired, foggy, and hungry even when you've eaten, because the fuel isn't reaching the engine. High insulin also tells fat cells to hold on to energy, and only when insulin levels drop can fat unlock and be burned. Keeping your sugar steady lowers insulin overall, so you can reach your stored fuel more often. Spikes and dips add another layer. 2 or 3 hours after a sugar level is high, the levels can drop quickly, and this triggers hunger and craving hormones. And I used to think that meant I had no willpower, but it wasn't lack of discipline. It was a lack of steady energy and blood glucose. And once I fixed my sugar, the stability, eating better, and moving more became so much easier. So yes, calories count, but time and range controls how easy it feels to stay in that deficit. And when your sugar line flattens, hunger quiets, insulin drops, and fat loss finally becomes possible. You don't need to necessarily have a continuous glucose monitor to start, although I love them because it's much easier just to have it on you and on your phone. But you can use a simple meter and check 3 times. I want you to check before you eat and 2 hours after you eat and before your next meal. Those numbers will tell you how your last meal treated you. So if you have diabetes, aim for a pre-meal of 80 to 130 and a 2-hour post-meal of under 180 or less. And if you're insulin resistant or pre-diabetic, aim for a pre-meal of 70 to 110 and a 2-hour of 140 or less. If that next pre-meal is still 15 to 20 points higher or above 140, the last meal kept your sugar high too long. And that's not failure, it's feedback. Here's how to fix it next time. Cut the quick carbs and add protein and healthy fat to slow digestion. Include fiber or beans. They flatten this meal and the next one. Try carb cooling, which is where you cook, cool, and reheat rice or potatoes or bread to build resistant starch that digests slower. Think of adding a splash of vinegar in water or dressing if you tolerate it. It can blunt the spike of sugar. I want you eating first and coffee later, because coffee before breakfast can raise glucose about 50% or higher in one study. And if you'll be sitting, move for 3 minutes every half hour. Short activity breaks lower post-meal sugar and insulin, and some meals can even help the next one. So say you ate something with lentils or chickpeas at lunch. Dinner will usually look smoother because that fiber is feeding the gut bacteria that make short-chain fatty acids, which boost your natural GLP-1, or hormone that slows digestion and helps insulin work better later. Now, this is true whether you're using a GLP-1 agonist drug or not. Now, what you eat earlier changes how your body handles food later. So evenings matter too. Finish dinner at least 3 hours before bed. Eating late when melatonin is high makes insulin less effective and raises overnight sugar, especially if you carry a common melatonin receptor gene variant. Add 45 to 60 minutes of sleep if you're short. That alone will improve your fasting insulin sensitivity and build some muscle. Resistance training turns muscle into a glucose sponge. Now, here's your 7-day plan. Each day, pick one meal to track. Write down the number before and 2 hours after, and even before the next meal. If it returns to baseline, mark a green check. If it stays high, choose 1 or 2 fixes the next time. After a week, you'll know exactly which foods, times, and habits keep your line steady. And if your readings stay high even after changes and you're on medication, review the timing and dosing with your clinician of your medications. Never adjust on your own, but because this is often a big place where we mistake how to take the meds, and that's why we're not getting the results we're expecting. Fat loss also comes from a calorie deficit, but insulin resistance makes that deficit hard to reach. When your sugar steadies, insulin comes, hunger lines up with real need, and you naturally eat less without forcing it. You stop fighting your body and start working with it. it. And that's why every patient who focuses on time and range says the same thing. I finally eat less without trying. So if you've ever asked, will I ever lose the weight? The answer is yes. When this one number stays steady, comment range, and I'll send you the time and range tracker and the next meal decoder so you can start today. Next week, we'll talk about how to eat carbs at night without the spike. I'll see y'all in the next.